What's going on, guys? We are back here with the energy synthesis transmitter receiver system, and it basically converts reactive power into real power by performing a J operator that Steinmetz discovered. We're going to be testing it, doing a 15-minute load test. I did switch to SR560 diodes on the outer part of the two-part receiver coil. The full link, or not the full link, the full explanation on how to build this is in our most recent community posts page, and will be in the video description, along with being in our full book, our free book. The system is dead simple, real easy to build. It's going to be showing a lot of remarkable effects. It's tuned by 3 nickel zinc ferrite rods. You need to use nickel zinc. It has magic-like properties for tuning RF devices. So, and I've heard a lot of people say the video makes a lot more sense when they play it in 1.5 times speed, so feel free to do that. This is a 54 watt load test. There's 3 light bulbs here, all 18 watts each at 12 volts. It is from this box of them, so that will be our load test. Basically what happens is it's a 2-part transmitter and 2-part receiver coil system that's using the Steinmetz method, the Tesla method, and the Eric Dollard method. What we discovered is that we can convert reactive power into real power, and we discovered the mathematical framework for that. It's called energy synthesis. Eric Dollard's the one who actually discovered it. So what we have going on is we're using SR560 diodes on the outer part of our receiver coil. That power is fed back into the driving battery, and we will run loads for a time. We're going to do a 15-minute load test and see what the system recharges back up to. So it's very phenomenal. The tuning rods are essential to tuning it. The transmitter is consuming 0.27 amps to run itself. That is our voltage. So we're going to have to wait 15 minutes, watch what happens, and then I'll disconnect and we'll watch the recharge. And the recharge does take a while. It'll probably take about 30 minutes. So I'll give you a good look around everything. This meter is monitoring the voltage on the battery, the driving battery. That meter monitors the current flowing into the transmitter. The transmitter's rectified output goes back into the driving battery, and we're running our 54 watt load from the outer part of the receiver coil. Good look at it. And this is what the ferrite tuning rods do. It tunes the system further and stops it from consuming excess power. So the tuning rods are key to achieving energy synthesis. I actually killed the system and shut it down. So if you ever kill the system and shut it down, meaning the transmitter's off, you need to jumpstart it by quickly tapping a 12 volt 3 watt LED light between the base and collector just for a second, and it kicks back on, as you see. You can get it to run in a more stable mode by decreasing the parallel capacitor value between the base and emitter, but I have it at the most efficient point right now, so I don't want to decrease it any further. As long as you don't screw with it too much, it's very efficient in this way. So I think we're going to go for 10 minutes because we're going to be here all day if I do 15 minutes. And I think some guests showed up unexpectedly, and they can tell I'm recording and don't want to barge in, so.
Holy shit, huh?
Yeah, I think we're going to do like 10 minutes. I think you can hear them in the background too. So we started at 2:30. I will go to 12:30 on the video, I think. And those are very bright. And we still have crazy wireless power effects. So it's like magic. Interesting, huh? And if you doubt the transmitter is doing that, I will disconnect the transmitter. So the transmitter is disconnected and the wireless power effects have ceased. And I will now hook the transmitter back up, being this yellow wire, right to this exposed coil down here. Oh, but now I gotta jump start it again because it's off. There we go, it's jump started. So, we are now back on. And it would kick on just by connecting it if that parallel capacitor value between the base and the emitter was slightly lower, but I don't want to lower it because it's very efficient right now. And son of a bitch, I killed it again. There we go. So, I'm hearing a lot of people talking in the background too. I might have to cut the video short just because it's not quite the right moment to film, so to speak. But anyway, we discovered energy synthesis technology, the mathematical formula, the framework, how to convert reactive power into real power. The system will always recharge itself to an equilibrium point. Feel free to check the last video and watch it. I'll disconnect it now and we'll watch the recharge, and that's a 54 watt heavy load. Screw it, I'll wait. I'll just tell them in the background to be quiet and wait. And here's a good look at the transmitter. The best performing one is using 24 gauge wire. Disregard the wire gauge of this one. The best performing one will be in the video description and is already on our YouTube channel posts section. So feel free to fully read that. It is using a 1309 transistor. The full description on all the parts used and how to build it is in the video description. So I have a million people all the time asking me how to build it, where's the schematic. It's in the post section and it's in the video description. So that's how it's done. Good look at the transit. That's not the transistor used either. That is the best performing transistor. I'll get it. This is the best performing transistor. It is a 1309. Its exact part number says, I'm trying to read it off the bag. It says it somewhere on the bag. Oh, ST1309. I couldn't zoom in on the bag because I had my address. But anyway, it's ST1309 is the transistor. It's the best one. And I'm using SR560 diodes for the rectifier. And it's like the sun is over here right now. And energy synthesis seems to be an emergent-based phenomenon. When you have the outer part of the receiver coil, it's rectified power going back into the driving battery. And my transmitter just shut off again. Maybe I will have to slightly decrease that capacitor value for more stability. So the transmitter is back on. You know what's shutting it off too? The fact that I have 3 ferrite rods in here. It's right at the point of perfect tuning. So if I replace the big ferrite rod with a thinner one, it'll probably be more stable and less prone to shutting off. So I think we're a little more stable. And we started filming at 2 minutes 30 seconds. I will go to 12:30 and disconnect. And we'll watch what happens. And again, that's a 54 watt load on a little 6 amp hour driving battery. This is the exact battery. It's the exact battery. So, energy synthesis, undeniable. I'll also make a prediction too about the 3I Atlas comet. I will say that all of society is built upon a lie, and that lie owes a huge debt to the truth. And it's here. All of society is going to slowly collapse because you can't trust one thing any academic institution tells you. You can't trust one thing any mainstream science institution or government or healthcare institution tells you. I think how they handled COVID easily proves that point. I think the fact we have a government shutdown right now easily proves that point. And I think the fact NASA furloughed 15,000 employees the day the 3I Atlas comet, which has over 20 or 30 anomalies to it now that prove it's not a comet, NASA furloughs and lays off 15,000 of their employees as the world's weirdest comet in human history passes through our solar system. And then to add the icing on the cake, they release an absolute easy to detect fake picture of it on their website that people immediately picked apart as being fake. Now, if all that shit is going on, do you think they're really telling you the truth about science? Absolutely fucking not. Just when Oliver Heaviside came out with his telegraph equation, the British kept it suppressed because they didn't want it disagreed with academic dogma at the time, so they're like, so they didn't let they didn't let him work on the telegraph or fix it for a long time, and then they finally embraced his equation, and voila, telegraph worked. Same thing with this suppressed energy synthesis technology. Look up the Steinmetz method, how to synthesize electricity from the square root of -1, converting reactive power into real power. Eric Dollard's 4-quadrant representation of electricity, condensed intro to energy synthesis. You can download all the lectures as a transcript, plug it into a super research AI, combine it, condense it. That's what we did, and we mastered the math for energy synthesis, and you're witnessing what it can do. So now I will remove the bulb, the 54-watt load test, and we will watch what happens. The system has an equilibrium point. So it should immediately rebound and recharge. And, my prediction for 3I Atlas and society is that the powers that be would rather drag this society to the ground and have it burn before they release technology that brings about abundance to this planet. So, ask yourself, as a species gets more advanced, shouldn't they have a better quality of life, cheaper living expenses, and all around more abundance? But we're seeing the opposite with the human species. Dare I say we're regressing. We have no space program anymore, no public space program. We have exponentially increasing utility bills. All around, things are just getting worse, and you can't trust one thing any mainstream institution tells you. And these meters love to shut off. And I think they really are digging themselves a hole. And they especially did so with COVID. And now so with the lying NASA images. So that's my 2 cents. And it all ties in together. We're going to have to reject particle-based physics and go to Aether-based physics or ether-based physics. It's what all the ancient electrical engineers believed in, and it's the only thing that makes absolute sense and follows Occam's razor. So, we're watching what happens, and we're going to do some more cool things with it. I think the equilibrium point with this thing is 13.30 volts. So, we're going to watch what happens. There's just too many coincidences going on these days. Yeah. All my analog meters blue and they're hard to get right now. So we see it rebounding. Oh, and I did a 15-minute 54-watt load test with this thing yesterday, and the COP is 12.5 on this device. So it is a mathematically perfect Tesla coil, a mathematically perfect mini magnifying transmitter, 416 times scaled model reduction of Tesla's Colorado Springs unit, and it pulls in extra power from the earth connection in a dielectric induction based fashion that you can see here. The ground wire is very active, and if I had all this taken apart, and if you see me connect and disconnect the earth ground, it gets more efficient. Also, if I remove the feedback from the battery, you might see the voltage drop. You'll see an interesting phenomenon where the voltage will drop despite the transmitter consuming less current, and that effect is really present after you've run a load for a while. See if we can show that effect. I might have to run the load a little longer to show that effect, but it's definitely there and present. And when I reconnect the feedback, you actually see a spark because we have pretty significant power there. And these videos have to be long because you have to see some things. So see, there's that effect I was talking about. So when the feedback's connected, the transmitter consumes more current, yet the driving battery voltage recharges. When I remove the feedback, transmitter consumes less current and battery driving voltage drops by a 0.1 volt. And when I reconnect it, that effect goes back up. So that's proving the negative resistance effect from the system's design. Reconnected. And there we go. I'll show that again a few more times. Transmitter consumes more current with the feedback connected. Battery voltage will rise. We disconnect the feedback. Transmitter consumes less current. Battery voltage drops. That right there is a sign of the negative resistance energy synthesis effect occurring. Now I think we'll run the load again. 54 watt light load for 3 minutes. I don't want to be here forever with the video. So 3 minutes until on the 20-minute mark on the video, a little over 3 minutes, and we'll watch what happens. And you have to build this system exactly as it's specified. You can't vary it at all on the components, or it won't work this good. And you need a BYV26E diode connected between the cathode connects to the collector of the transistor, and the anode connects to the base of your transistor. So it's all in the description. So I know I keep saying over and over different things, but it's all just in the description. So we'll go to 20 minutes and I'll disconnect. And again, like I said, this was the huge clue. If this is lit up so efficiently and so far away. Oh, and also when the feedback's going back into the battery acts as some kind of weird capacitor with the plates in it, and the effects just go nuts. So as you see, the battery almost becomes a re-emitter of wireless power. And of course I touched it, the battery, which detuned the system, shutting off the transmitter, and now I have to jump start it again. I'm probably going to tune that capacitor value off camera slightly lower. Too high of a capacitor value between the base and emitter in parallel will it'll maximize efficiency, but if it's slightly too high, it'll give you trouble with the system oscillating. So we're almost at the 20-minute mark. Very heavy load on that 6 amp hour battery. So it's one hell of a Tesla coil, wouldn't you say? It makes no sparks. It creates insane wireless power, and it achieves energy synthesis. Absolutely insane. Nice good look at everything. here. That's my trash. Empty. So we hit the 3-minute mark. I'll disconnect now. We're watching the feedback going back up now. We're watching the energy synthesis effect in real time. And I think I've explained everything. The future really is energy synthesis technology, and the next level would be extracting energy out of a permanent magnet arrangement called a Lamore frequency harmonizer power extraction device. I gotta get more into that, but not in this video. This video is all about perfect Tesla coils that, when built correctly, act greater than the sum of any individual part. So we're witnessing all those effects. Very impressive. Took years to get this to where it is at this point. And like I said, you can't trust one person in academia, government, institution, authority. They all do the agenda of those that fund them, and it's a corrupt dogma, as seen with NASA and 3i Atlas, occurring right now, and our government shutdown. It all ties together in a grand unified way. So make of that information what you will. When the system is built, it acts like magic. Charge will accumulate on everything near the system, really, to the point where it's mind-bending. So this is the old model, just sitting nearby, completely unpowered, and pretty impressive. It glows wirelessly. So electricity's very nature is to be freeing, and for all the power to flow as a field outside the conductor. There are no electrons flowing in a conductor. That's a unit of measurement. That's like saying you saw an inch walking down the street, or you saw happiness walk down the street. That makes no sense. It's a descriptor of a measurement. If electrons were flowing through a conductor, the conductor would lose mass. So all the ancient electrical giants and titans don't believe in electrons because they're not real. They're units of measurement. So that's my opinion, and that's that. And I believe our equilibrium point is 3.3 or 3.4, which is much better than last time. I'll disconnect the feedback and see what happens. So maybe our equilibrium point is 3.3. Yeah, alright, I'm going to connect the load again. We'll do another 3 minutes. And, yeah. So we'll go to 27 minutes on the video. And the COP on this device is 13.5. Ferrite rods are essential to tuning the arrangement. It's actually a golden ratio proportion. Transmitter is 1.48 inches long on a 1-inch PVC coupler. The receiver coil is exactly 2.4 inches long, which is a golden ratio harmonic between the transmitter and receiver coil, and it's a golden ratio harmonic of growth, which further enhances the energy synthesis process we discovered. So that's that. Golden ratio applies to everything in the universe. Ooh, next time we touch that, it's really hot. We pick it up and show you. A lot of light. Crazy shit, huh? The ability to conjure power wherever you want it. Aether-based energy synthesis. Reject modernity. Embrace this ancient technology that was suppressed for so long. This system obsoletes nuclear power, solar power, wind, everything. The excess power comes from energy synthesis, the way it's built, the fact all the parts are in resonant harmony and acting greater than the sum of any one individual part. It has an emergent-based property. And you can't apply the laws of thermodynamics to this open system. Those laws only apply to closed mechanical systems. Our universe is an open, infinite system. So, all the pillars of our modern science, except for mathematics and chemistry, is wrong. And we're almost at 27 minutes. And I'll disconnect and we will watch the recharge. And again, like I said, I don't know why the system works so damn well with the 1309 transistor. You have to use the exact one I'm using. It works like magic with that one for some reason when you get it tuned. Don't know why that is. I tried a bunch, and that's the best one it works with. So now we'll disconnect. And we'll watch the rebounding energy synthesis effect. And actually, I'll disconnect the feedback and we'll see what happens. So it's going to recharge a lot slower without the feedback. Now I'll connect the feedback and we'll recharge even quicker despite consuming more current. See if I can capture that on camera. And again, read the goddamn video descriptions, download the free book, and follow the information in this video. Oh, and follow the ESTC group, follow Eric Dollard, follow Ken Wheeler. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to our Patreon. You know, it's groundbreaking work. So, some of the utmost phenomenal performing Tesla systems. See if we can center our rods a little better. They work the best when they're perfectly centered. So we keep rebounding. Equilibrium is 3-3, I think. The net positive equilibrium. And again, the battery acts as a re-emitter of wireless power, which is very cool due to the capacitive plates in the battery, I think. Or the plates in the battery acting as a capacitor. And in theory, the current, when you get the system perfectly tuned, the current you're consuming, your current consumption should always be the voltage your driving battery recharges back up to for the equilibrium point. So that might be the equilibrium point, or it could be 0.1 higher, is what I've seen. And I'll show a good look at all the transistors. You can't get them on Amazon because Amazon sells you cheap knockoff shit and they don't work as good as these. I got these from Newark and they have that little grooved look on the side. They work the absolute best. I've never had something that works that good. And they are the, I always forget the damn name, the ST1309 transistor from Newark, Newark, ST1309. And I'll show the negative resistance anomaly again. Disconnect the feedback. And we drain charge despite the transmitter consuming less power. Reconnect the feedback. Transmitter consumes more power, but the voltage will go up in the driving battery. That's the negative resistance effect in action that the system's creating. So I'll show that again. Feedback disconnected. And sometimes it likes to linger with its charge for a bit, but feedback connected. Probably at the brink of hitting 3.3. You see how they're equal there? 13.32, 0. Well, it did say 0.32 on consumption. And there we go. I will show that effect again. I will remove our resonant feedback. Drops to 3.2. Reconnect the resonant feedback. Up to 3.3, despite the transmitter consuming more current while the resonant feedback is present. Do it again. Transmitter consumes less current, battery voltage drops. Resonant feedback connected again. There we go. I will do another 3-minute load test. System excels at doing 3 to 6 minute load tests. So I'll go to 35 minutes. And again, that is absolutely crazy. Absolutely phenomenal. You can clearly see everything, all the leads, so can be no complaining, no bitching about anything, and the work and all the math is there in my free book, so you can't complain about that. It's a literal free book me and 4 other people worked on. Yeah, it's just insane. You mess with the ferrites, it tunes the system. See how we consume a lot more current without the ferrites installed? Install the ferrites. And of course, I screwed it up because I inserted them in all at once. I shut the transmitter off. With the transmitter off, wireless power effects have ceased. Now it is just the straight battery running the bulbs without the energy synthesis effect taking place. I will jumpstart the transmitter again by connecting a bulb between the base and collector of the transistor. Briefly, and we're back on. Energy synthesis is now occurring. So, absolutely crazy. And then at the end of the video, I will take it all apart and show you everything. Oh, and now that the transmitter is back on, we obviously have wireless power again, emitting off the battery. The excess wireless power is an ab-extra phenomenon to the device due to its point source geometry having an emergent-based phenomenon due to field effects being multiplicative, not additive, when they're in a golden ratio harmony that I described earlier. Transmitter is 1.48 inches long, receiver coil apparatus is 2.4 inches long, so golden ratio harmonic of growth. Using an Aether physics framework, which seems to work. I believe we're almost at the 35-minute mark, and I will disconnect the bulbs again. And for those who don't know, the 54-watt bulbs are being run from the driving battery. It's a parallel connection between the rectifier that produces the resonant feedback into the battery. Alright, so I'll remove the bulbs again. Energy synthesis will take over. And we'll watch what happens. And the installation of the BYV26E flyback Baker clamp diode between the base and collector, with the cathode to the collector and the anode to the base of the transistor, creates a more potent hysteresis loop for more energy synthesis effects to occur, is what we discovered. So that's the engineering behind it, the math. It's about creating a potent hysteresis loop in the system while creating a resonant imbalance and keeping it at a golden ratio proportion. And we can convert the reactive power to real power with our special, super complicated 2-part receiver coil. The inner part builds up an immense amount of reactive power, which has the parallel capacitor there, responsible for the phase shifting operation, the J operator, of turning the outer part of the receiver coil's rectified power into powerful DC. You're turning the reactive power into real power. So we're watching the system rebound. Already at 2.8. And the energy synthesis effect seems to be an emergent phenomenon present once the system has its feedback connected back to the driving battery and properly tuned via the ferrite rods. And I just can't get over how crazy this system is. I'm not going to produce a schematic on the receiver coil because it's so dead simple. You can just build it on your own by reading the description of how it's built and just basically looking at it. It's built out of, it's constructed out, well, it's in the description. I think it's 18 gauge stranded silicon wire. So we're watching the energy synthesis effect in real time. See if I can get it slightly better tuned. It's all about positioning that ferrite just right. And I'll show me removing the feedback and adding it again. I want to show it right as it transitions up a charge by 0.1, and I'll remove, there we go. So now feedback removed, you see that? It's undeniable. You see that effect? It's equalized. Feedback connected. Transmitter consumes more current and battery voltage increases due to the increased dielectric field strength. Remove it. Transmitter consumes less power. Voltage drops. So again, very impressive. And we're on the slow recharge back up to 0.33. And should I run it again for 3 minutes, watch what happens, and then take everything apart, show you what's going on. And these videos have to be long to document that effect, explain to you how energy synthesis works. It's detailed further in the book, the free book, so it's on archive.org, link in the description, feel free to get it. Yeah. And like I said, all of our society is the biggest joke right now that's built on a huge foundation of lies and is collapsing in real time. That's why we have a cost of living crisis. We have the highest amount of doubt ever present in any form of institution of authority. So I think that's safe to say that. Why is life systematically getting worse for everyone? Why is it predicted the next coming generations will be the poorest in human history? Are we de-evolving or evolving? Like, WTF? Like, what the fuck? Humanity's the only species that gets worse over time instead of better. All we get thrown at us is more advanced computer technology to keep us distracted and more dumb. That is a Black Mirror device, and its programs are designed to siphon and suck the life out of you. Have you ever seen a person in public just using their smartphone, and you could just see them doom scrolling through it as it's just sucking the life out of them? You have to have wisdom when you use this type of technology, folks. You have to keep it at a limit. So once we hit 3.3, I'll do the load test again. And the reason you have such lunacy occurring in big cities is because they're ungrounded, they're disconnected from the earth, they probably live in a high-rise apartment building, they're eating garbage food, they're drinking polluted water that's laced with pharmacological chemicals and who knows what else. And it's just a cesspool of shit, and they're bombarded with countless EMF frequencies that's wreaking havoc on them. So no wonder why they go nuts in big cities. And we're watching what's occurring. I'm surprised it even goes back up to 3.3 because the equilibrium point I thought with this one was like 0.30 or 0.31. Usually the equilibrium point is right at the current consumption. But no, this one seems to be exceeding expectations due to the upgrade I made to it. So yeah, we'll run this again for another 3 minutes. Now, until 45 minutes in the video. And the fact the battery is rebounding at all should be impossible, but nothing is impossible because it's all a matter of engineering and understanding Aether-based physics or ether-based physics, however you want to call it. Here's the magic-like effect still. Completely crazy. So that's a real Tesla coil. It produces no sparks, produces magic-like wireless power effects, produces energy synthesis. I have to make sure I don't accidentally show my address on screen, so I'm turning some stuff around. Here's a good look at those diodes again. This is a diode I'm using now as the flyback Baker clamp, the BYV26E. And again, these are the transistors I'm using. These guys are great. Got to get them from newark.com, Newark. Been stocking up on a lot of supplies and wire. Have some Litz wire. Gonna try and build another one out of Litz wire, but every time I use Litz wire, it never behaves as good as the transmitter built with solid gauge 24 wire, 24 AWG magnet wire. So, look around my crazy lab. There's no like hidden Tesla coil anywhere and no hidden helper anywhere or no hidden wires. Dead simple setup. We don't do bullshit on this channel. Me and the ESTC group, Eric Dollard, Ken Wheeler, we don't do no fucking bullshit. Believe me on that when I tell you that. I'll look you dead in the eye and pass a lie detector test, everything. We don't do bullshit. And those are my bitchy meters about to shut off. I believe we're a minute away from 45 minutes. And here's the other weird effect. Not sure if you can see that glowing just by being near the light bulbs. Everything in the system is a re-emitter of wireless power, but the light bulbs are absolutely drowning out seeing this from glowing. And the COP again on this is 12.5. No, it's either 13.5 or 12.5. I have the calculation saved to the notes on my phone. I think it's 13.5. Okay, and we're at 45 minutes. I'll let it go 3 or 4 seconds after. We will disconnect. Okay, disconnected. And I know these meters suck, but I'm stuck with them. I had analogs. They all broke. And we're watching it rebound. And then I'll take the system apart and show you everything. And it gets really dark in this area when those bulbs are disconnected. That's funny. See if I can show you the wattage on them. It says 12 volts, 18 watts, and there's 3 in parallel for a 54 watt incandescent bulb load test. Here's what each one looks like. And I think I will show you the raw power output of just the receiver coil next, and how it's tuned. And this was 54 watts here, folks. 54 watts. I don't know why it won't focus. Yeah, see the 18 watt number right there? 18 watt, 12 volt, 18 watt. And we're just watching our rebound effect. When it's in that regenerative mode, the wireless power just goes nuts. And my hand's getting kind of sore just holding my phone in this position for a while, but it is what it is. Not sure what other people have been up to, but we did it. We cracked energy synthesis. Eric Dollard, Ken Wheeler, myself, and yeah, we cracked it. We cracked energy synthesis. And of course, Steinmetz was the originator of it all. So that's that. And once we hit our recharge maximum point again, I will disconnect everything, show you everything, give you a good look at everything, and do my best to explain everything. And you can also learn how it works by reading the video description or the post. It's in full detail there. A lot better than what I can say sometimes, because sometimes I mess up what I say. And yeah, we're watching the system's behavior in real time. And this video has to be long to show you all those effects. Some tests in science you can't rush, but hey, remember when they said, trust the science? What a joke. These people in these institutions are not worth your trust in any shape or form. They despise you. Whatever they say, you should do the opposite and laugh. Whatever they tell you, completely believe the opposite. They tell you there's a conservation of energy, look at them and laugh and go, it only applies to closed mechanical systems. Good luck applying that to radio. You know there's an unlimited amount of people that can tune into a radio signal without bogging down the signal, right? Just tell them that. That'll completely drop their jaw. Oh, this guy's not a moron, or this lady's not a moron. They actually have some brain cells to rub together. And there was no Big Bang. The universe is and always has been infinite, because the mirror universe, or counter space, being the dimension where electricity comes from, is infinite. The counter spatial plane is infinite. If counter space is infinite, the mirror image, which is our universe by definition, that is given risen to by magnetism, has to be infinite as well. So the Aether is infinite, our mirror universe is infinite. Therefore, this is infinite. And that's what they want to keep suppressed from everyone. And the fact that anything that goes against any institution's dogma is completely shut down and shunned, and they try to mock it, everything. You can't trust these people for a second. You know what they're worthy of? They're worthy of this. And I think it's William Anke who does that all the time, isn't he? I think all of modern society is worth this. It's nothing but fake noise. Government shutdown. What a joke. We have veterans standing in food pantry lines to get fucking food, but all these fat ass piece of shit politicians, they still get their paycheck, but no, not people in the army, not people in the service, not all these essential workers. They get fucked. And it all ties together. I don't want to hear about politics. Well, it all ties together. All of it ties together. Everything's connected. You're seeing the equalization point again. I'll disconnect the feedback. You see we drop. I connect the feedback. We go up. We go up despite consuming more current, which is a sign of negative resistance. Disconnect the feedback. We drop in voltage despite consuming less current. Connect the feedback again. You're witnessing that in real time, so there can be no doubt. And yeah. Don't know what else more you want. And don't worry, the video's almost over. Once it hits 3.2 or 3.3, we get the point. I'll disconnect it, show you everything again. And yeah, and for those who don't know, there is a literal great schism upon us. The schism is now half the world's population doesn't believe anything any government, academic, or mainstream institution says due to how corrupt they are, how dogmatic they are, and how biased they are against anything that goes against their beliefs. And the other half are just dumb sheep. Do you really think you're going to cruise around the universe in a giant fuel-filled pecker? Or will you join the people who build field propulsion craft powered by this type of stuff? A field propulsion craft that bends gravity powered by this type of stuff? Or do you want to ride a giant fuel-filled pecker into space? That is an archaic arch form for spaceflight. Do you think any interstellar species worth its salt uses fuel-based propulsion to get around the universe? No. They use field-based propulsion, field propulsion-based craft. And that is why we have no science program, no public space program, why electrical research is dead, because it all leads to this type of crazy phenomenon. That's magic. If you perfect this type of stuff, it leads to a free, magic-like society. Yeah, hold on a sec. Be done soon. Give me like 10 or 15 minutes. If I could somehow get away with replacing that thinner rod with the big one, would recharge a little quicker. And I got some fancy equipment stocked up on supplies, and I'm afraid to use the oscilloscope because I don't want to burn it out near the thing. My old oscilloscope burned out just being near the thing. I don't dare connect it to it. Not directly, anyway. And the system excels at running large loads for about 3 to 5 minutes, disconnecting. It recharges itself. Run it again, reconnect. If you run the battery down too low, it'll really struggle and take a long time to fully go back up, but it still eventually does it. It just takes longer. It's like it throws the system out of whack if it goes too low. I believe we should say 3.2 soon, because this is my best performing unit. This one seems to be going slightly higher than the current consumption. The voltage rebound is leading the current consumption slightly from the negative resistance effect. So, anything modern institutions demonize, you know probably to most likely be true. I mean, look at the shit they did with COVID, and look at how they kept saying, "Oh, ivermectin, you're taking horse dewormer. You're gonna die if you take that shit." It's like, no, real doctors prescribe that. You're a joke. All of our society's a joke, like I said. So we're gonna see if this hits 0.32. I bought the equilibrium point was already between anywhere between 3.0 and 3.3 is the equilibrium point. It varies. We'll see. See if we can get this a little more tuned. I wonder if I can replace this with a thicker rod without having the transmitter shut off. Ha! I think I got it. Now it should say 3.2 because it really likes the thicker rods. For 2. Yep, there we go. We got it just because changing the rod tweaks the inductance and the hysteresis of the system, and boom, there we go. So should we wait a little longer before disconnecting? We'll see. Alright, we get the point. So I'm going to disconnect now. This video's gone on almost an hour. People are going to bitch and whine and complain, "I don't want to watch an hour video." Well, play it in 1.5 times speed and get educated. So, I'm going to disconnect everything now. And the first thing I disconnected was the resonant feedback. I'll connect up a light bulb. And in order to connect this light bulb, I have to remove the ferrite, the tuning ferrites, because it will shut off. So I will connect this 12 volt 5 watt light bulb to show you the power output of the receiver coil that was recharging our battery. This is what was recharging our battery, and the ferrites, you see that? The transmitter is consuming over half an amp. Driving battery voltage dropped to 13.26. I insert the tuning ferrite into the whole apparatus, and the bulb goes nuclear. What do you think happens when you get that tuned to your driving battery? Can't get it just right on camera. See that? And just to shut all those naysayers and trolls up, we're going to connect the resonant feedback again back to the battery for a short time before I end the video. Immediate rebounding effect occurring. I will get it tuned, one ferrite rod at a time so it doesn't shut off. This is energy synthesis technology. Spread the information around, download the free book, spread the video around, make a copy of it, download it. Because the great schism is upon us. And we'll see what that does. See if I can get these nice and, there we go. Should hit 3.2, and when it hits 3.2, disconnect everything and show you everything. Thought I was going to be slightly under an hour on the video, but whatever. Come on, stay perfectly centered. I want massively impressive results on this video. The fact that says 0.32 means we should go to 3.3 in theory on the recharge. We're always slightly higher. It's just a matter of time. And I know we can do it. Come on. It's just a matter of getting it fine-tuned. I think the rods are slightly off-center. Yeah. Oh, we hit 3-2. Ha! Alright, we're good to disconnect. Flashed 3-2 for a second. Must be the way the rods are positioned. Guarantee you if I insert this other rod, it'll say it. There we go. It says it. Varied the tuning a little bit. So it's all about tuning with the ferrites. Gonna fully disconnect everything now in real time. Ferrites pulled out, which are honestly kind of look like control rods. Disconnected the feedback. Transmitter disconnected. Voltage meter of the battery 3-2. It's a real stable voltage in the battery. Disconnected now. Look at the battery. Put this guy right over here. Look at our multimeter. Shut him off. He did a good job, even though he likes to shut off all the time, but he's just trying to save power. Look at the battery again if you want to see it. So now I will show the light bulbs. That's pretty dead obvious. The receiver coil, the 2-part receiver coil. Get a good look at it. The inner part has the parallel capacitor value installed, and the outer part has the SR560 bridge rectifiers installed. Look at the transmitter. And this one doesn't even get warm during operation anymore. All has to do with how the 24 gauge wires for the L1 and L2 coils perfectly impedance match with this transistor, which is very interesting. So really, you could say it's a pocket-sized, energy synthesis device. Give you a good look at it. And that parallel capacitor value between the base and emitter has to slightly drop to achieve more stable oscillation. There's that diode between the base and collector installed. It's that Avalanche BY626E. It's this one. I just won't say it. It's that diode, and it was essential. That diode is essential to increase the hysteresis of the energy synthesis effect. And my phone's about to run out of memory in 3 minutes, so that's how the transmitter looks. The only, well, no, that's how it looks. I was going to say the emitter doesn't get connected to anything, but the emitter is where the capacitor goes in parallel with the L1 coil. I make them out of 2 different colors. This is 24 gauge wire. It is inner coil, 24 gauge magnet wire, red. Outer coil, 24 gauge magnet wire, orange. You want to wind the coils over each other and opposite to each other for a bucking configuration, so they're 180 degrees out of phase with the transistor to ensure powerful single transistor oscillation. The installation of that BYV26E avalanche diode acts as a flyback Baker clamp to improve the hysteresis loop and speed up switching of the device. That is the 110K biasing resistor. And yeah, that's that. Read the video description, read our most recent YouTube post. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon, and download the free book. I am running out of phone memory. Thank you, everyone. Oh, and before we go, people wanted to see a little bit more of a look around over here. Look under the board. Just a simple test board, nothing crazy. So, again, that's that. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon. And again, thank you, everybody.